Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for Chapter 2, Part 5, History, Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the global influence of the Russian Revolution and the USSR. Also, we will have a look of the summary of the chapter. So when we talk about the global influence of the Russian Revolution and the USSR, we have some of the important points. Like, not all the socialist parties which were present in Europe were on the same position. They all were not on the same position. But there was support for socialism. Now, why this was so? This was because of the possibility of a workers' state. As we have read about the Russian Revolution, that there was a demand of the workers' state. In that, workers would be uplifted. That kind of demand was there in the Russian Revolution. So, having a conflict among the parties, like all the social parties were not having the same opinion, but still they were supporting the socialism because of the possibility of a workers' state. Now this idea actually fired the people's imagination across the world. The people were supporting the idea of this workers' state. Now in many countries, communist parties were formed, like the Communist Party of Great Britain, and that was because of the idea of this workers' state. Also, this Bolsheviks, they encouraged the colonial people to follow their experiment. Also, India was a colonial that time, so the leaders of India, they were also attracted towards this idea. They were also influenced by this idea. So these Bolsheviks, they used to encourage the colonial peoples to follow the experiments which they did. For this, to encourage people, they used to do the conference. Now the conference was there, which was People's of East, which was in 1920. Now many of the non-Russians from outside the USSR, they participated in the conference. And there they used to discuss the ideas and experiments. The Bolsheviks founded Comintern, and this Comintern was actually an international union of pro-Bolshevik socialist party. Now, some received education in the USSR's Communist University of the Workers of the East. this idea, which was very much popular in that time, the workers' state. This idea was popular that time, and this idea was taught in the USSR's communist university. So many of the students received education there, and they used to learn about this idea. Now, by the time of Second World War, the USSR had given the socialism a global face and world stature. Now, this idea of socialism, the idea of this worker state, was having a global face. It was globally popularized. Now, till now, we discussed that this idea was very much popular among the people that time. But by 1950, the people acknowledged that the idea which was popular and the style of government in the USSR was not same. Actually, the USSR, whatever ideas they kept during Russian Revolution, actually that was not seen in their governance. They were not fulfilling whatever they promised. Now, a backward country had become a great power. Russia was actually a backward country, but it became a great power. Also, the industries and agriculture had developed, and the poor were being fed. But with this, it had denied the essential freedoms to the citizens and carried out its developmental projects through repressive policies. So you can see that the idea was there, an idea was popular, the people has accepted and they were attracted towards this idea. But when this USSR was governing, that idea was not seen in their governance. It was totally different. Now, by the 12th century, by the end of the 12th century, the international reputation of the USSR, whatever the reputation was there internationally of this USSR, it had declined. What kind of a reputation it was having? It was actually having a reputation as a socialist country, which was declined. But still, the idea of this socialist were respected among the people. USSR lost its reputation because whatever they promised the socialism, the workers' state, and they have not fulfilled their promise, and that is why they lost their reputation. We have already read about the collectivization. So those things were imposed on the peasants. They told that these workers, the peasants, they will be uplifted But what happened? Actually, they were not uplifted, they were. So, with this, the international reputation which was there of USSR as a socialist country was declined, but the idea of this socialist, it was still respected among the people because people were in favor of this idea. The idea was good, but the governance of this USSR was not as per the expectation. Now, with this, in each country, the ideas of socialism were rethought in a variety of different ways. So, this is how the Russian Revolution and the USSR influence the world globally. Now, here you have some of the activities. So, do these activities as your homework. Now here we will have a look of the summary of the chapter for the better understanding of the chapter. So we will start with the age of social change. So the French Revolution opened up the possibility of creating a dramatic change in the way in which society was structured. From here, people started thinking of the change of society. However, everyone was not in favor of the complete transformation in Europe. There were conservatives, there were liberals or radicals. So, who were liberals? So, liberals were the people who wanted a nation which tolerated all religions. They argued for an elected parliamentary government, subjects to laws interpreted by well-trained judiciary, and that was independent of rulers and officials. However, they were not democrats. They did not wanted universal adult franchise, or they did not wanted every people to vote. They wanted the people having certain amount of property, they should vote. Also, they were not in favor of vote of women. So like this, if we go to their demand of voting system, they were not democrats, but they argued for an elected parliamentary government which was independent of rulers and officials. Now when we go to radicals, they were the group who wanted a nation in which government was based on the majority of a country's population. Now they disliked concentration of power in hands of a few. They did not wanted few people to have all the power. However, they were not against the existence of private property. They were not against the existence of private property, but they did not want the power, concentration of property in hands of few. Now we have conservatives and they resisted change. They were against this change. And after the revolution they started accepting change provided it was slow and had links and respected the past. Now industries and social change. So this time was actually the time of economic and social change. How men, women and children were pushed into factories for low wages. Liberals and radicals who were factory owners felt the workers' efforts must be encouraged. These liberals and radicals were also the property owners, but they felt that the workers' efforts must be encouraged. Now we have socialism in Europe. So the socialists, they were against private property. They were having different visions of the future. Some believed in cooperatives. Some demanded that governments must encourage cooperatives. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels added that industrial society was capitalist. Marx believed that a socialist society would free the workers from capitalism, and this would be a communist society. So this was the concept of Karl Marx. According to him, socialist society would free the workers from the capitalist. Who were the capitalists? The industrial society was the capitalist. And this would be a communist society. Socialism given support. So workers in Germany and England began forming associations to fight for better living conditions. As we have already studied, just now we studied that the women, men and children, they were they were pushed into the factories, working for hours, working for long hours and with poor wages. So to fight for this, the workers in Germany and England, they began forming associations. Now they set up funds for members in distress, reduction of working hour and right to vote. So these were the demands by the association which was formed by the workers in Germany and England. Then we have the Russian Revolution. So in 1914, Nicholas II ruled the Russian Empire. We will go to the economy and society. So most of the Russian population were agriculturists. They depend on agriculture for their survival. Now industries were being set up, which was mostly private property of industrialists. The workers were divided into groups, but they unite to strike work when they were dissatisfied. Peasants had no respect for nobility, which was not in the condition, not the condition with the French peasant. Russian peasants were the only peasant community which pooled their land and their commune divided it. Now then we have socialism in Russia. So all the political parties which were there in Russia, they were illegal before 1914. The Russian Socialist Democratic Labour Party, which was formed in 1900, struggled to give peasants their rights over land which belonged to nobles. The land was divided among peasants periodically, and it was felt that peasants and not workers would be the main source of the revolution. But Lenin did not agree with this because he felt that peasants were not one social group. The party was divided into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. Now we have the 1905 revolution. So Russia was an autocracy. Tsar was not subject to the parliament. Liberals wanted to end this state of affairs, and they worked towards demanding the constitution during the revolution of 1905. Then it was the time of Bloody Sunday. Prices of essential goods rose so quickly by 1904 that the real wages declined by 20%. During this time, 4 members of Putilov Iron Works were dismissed. Action was called for over 110,000 workers in St. Petersburg went on strike, demanding a reduction in working hours and increase in wages. This procession was attacked by the police and Cossacks, and over 100 workers were killed. Now strikes took place as a reaction, and people demanded a constituent assembly. Tsar allowed the creation of an elected constitutive parliament or Duma. But he dismissed the first Duma within 75 days and announced the election of a second Duma. Then we have the First World War and the Russian Empire. So in Russia, the war was initially very popular, but later the support grew thin. Anti-German sentiments ran high, and Russian armies lost badly in the Germany and Austria. There were 7 million casualties and 3 million refugees in Russia. The war also affected the industry. There was labor shortage, railway lines were shut down, and small workshops were closed down. Also, there was shortage of grain, and because of that, bread also was in shortage. So, with this, the international reputation which was there of USSR as a socialist country was declined, but the idea of this socialist, it was still respected among the people because people were in favor of this idea. The idea was good, but the governance of this USSR was not as per the expectation. Now, with this, in each country, the ideas of socialism were rethought in a variety of different ways. So, this is how the Russian Revolution and the USSR influence the world globally. Now in individual areas, factory committees were formed which began questioning the way industrialists ran their factories. Soldiers' committees were formed in the army. The provisional government saw its power declining and Bolshevik influence grow. It decided to take stern measures against the spreading discontent. It resisted attempts by workers to run factories and arrested leaders. Peasants and socialist revolutionary leaders pressed for a redistribution of land. Land committees were formed and peasants seized land between July and September 1917. Then we have October Revolution. It was on 6th October 1917. Lenin persuaded the Petrograd Soviet and Bolshevik Party to agree to a socialist seizure of power. A military revolutionary committee was appointed by the Soviet to organize seizure. Uprising began on 24th October. Prime Minister Kerensky left the city to summon troops. Military men loyal to the government seized the buildings of two Bolshevik newspapers. Pro-government troops were sent to take over telephone and telegraph offices and protect the Winter Palace. In response, Military Revolutionary Committee ordered to seize government offices and arrest the ministers. The Aurora ship shelled the Winter Palace. Other ships took over strategic points. By night, the city had been taken over and ministers had surrendered. All Russian Congress of Soviets in Petrograd approved the Bolshevik action. Heavy fighting in Moscow. By December, the Bolsheviks controlled the Moscow-Petrograd area. The people involved were Lenin, the Bolsheviks, troops, which were pro-government. Now, what was the effect of this? So, as an effect, we have the most industry and banks were nationalized in November 1917. Land was declared social property and peasants were allowed to seize the land of the nobility. Use of old titles were banned. New uniforms were designed for the army and officials. Russia became a one-party state. Trade unions were kept under party control. A process of centralized planning was introduced. This led to economic growth. Industrial production increased. An extended schooling system developed. Collectivization of farms started. Then there was the Civil War. When the Bolsheviks ordered land redistribution, the Russian army began to break up. Now, non-Bolshevik socialists, liberals and supporters of autocracy condemned the Bolshevik uprising. They were supported by French, America, British and Japanese troops. All this fought a war with Bolsheviks. Making a socialist society. The Bolsheviks kept industries and banks nationalized during the Civil War. A process of centralized planning was introduced. Rapid construction and industrialization started and extended schooling system developed. Then there was Stalin and collective farming. So Stalin believed that rich peasants and traders stocked supplies to create shortage of grains. Hence, collectivization was the need of the hour. This system would also help to modernize farms. Those farms who resisted collectivization were punished, deported or exiled. Then there is global influence. So by 1950s, it was recognized in the country and outside that everything was not in keeping with the ideals of the Russian Revolution. Though its industries and agriculture had developed and the poor were being fed, the essential freedom to its citizens was being denied. However, it was recognized that social ideals still enjoyed respect among the Russians. But in each country, the ideas of socialism were rethought in a variety of different ways. So here we had the summary of the chapter, which will help you to understand the chapter in short. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.